From the station working for you, this is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
It's Tuesday, October 20th, and right now on Good Morning Indiana.
We've certainly stockpiled more PPE to prepare for a surge.
Coronavirus cases remain high in the Hoosier state. This morning, how the state's two largest healthcare providers are preparing for a potential surge in cases. A racist comment appears in a Brown County High School yearbook. Now school leaders are responding.
There was even that fear of, will we survive this? Will there be a company to come back to?
Plus, the Rebound Indiana is checking back in with a Carmel dance company nearly forced to close. And here at 6 o'clock, we want to thank you for joining our team on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey, and Todd Clausen and Rafael Sanchez are standing by this morning in social distancing. Rafael, good morning to you down in Johnson County. It's not too bad of a morning, I would say. Better weather than yesterday.
It's not too... You know what? It's not too bad at all. And so I did open the door the front door, only because warmer weather is on the way. Otherwise, I would have just stepped back inside and watched Good Morning Indiana like everybody else and maybe a little Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah, my Netflix was going yesterday afternoon with that rain and the cool temperatures out there. That's for sure, Rafael. And yeah, as you go over the next couple of days, I think you're really going to be impressed with the temperatures. The trade-off before we can get that warmer air in here, though, is going to be a little more rain that is going to be heading our way. Now, we had rain overnight. You probably woke up to it at some point throughout the morning hours. That's all moved off, and you see storm team radar is pretty quiet right now, but there is some drizzle out there still here and there across parts of the area. So it's not out of the question that you'll have to throw your windshield wipers on for your morning commute, and the roadway is still definitely wet. So give yourself some extra time, especially on some of those side streets where we have the wet leaves. Temperatures right now range from 43 in Peru to 49 in Bloomington. But what's going to happen is a warm front's going to lift to the north as we get into the evening hours. So until the evening, we're just mainly cloudy with a little bit of drizzle here and there across parts of the area. But once we get closer to sunset and beyond, that's when we bring in some heavier rainfall once again. We'll talk more about that rain for you coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, let's get a look right now from our live drive vehicle out on the roads this morning, giving you a look at what you can expect as you head to work or school. Our photographer, Shay Goodpaster, in the driver's seat. This is a dash cam view as he is traveling westbound on I-465 along the south side, close to the Harding Street exit there in State Road 37 now. You can see traffic is traveling up to speed, and you don't need the windshield wipers too much this morning, so it is good news. A bit of an improvement over your commute yesterday morning, but of course, we'll keep an eye on your roads and we'll keep you updated on any delays. Rafael?
Lauren, now to the latest on the pandemic's impact on our state. Here are the latest numbers. The State Health Department reporting that nearly 1,600 new cases of coronavirus. It's the lowest number of new cases since last Thursday. Since the pandemic began, more than 149,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for COVID-19. Health officials also say 23 more Hoosiers have died with the virus. Although the Department of Health officials say 11 of those deaths happened between September the 17th and October the 3rd. They were roughly verified through medical review. State health officials also updated the school dashboard. 476 more students have tested positive for the virus. 92 teachers and 119 staff members have also tested positive for coronavirus.
And due to some data issues, the state has not been able to update the hospital admissions since Thursday, but our high number of cases has hospitals now preparing for a possible influx of patients. We reached out to IU Health and Franciscan Health. Hospital leaders explained some of the specific ways they're making sure that they'll be able to handle a possible spike in COVID cases.
Whether we need to cohort patients, dedicate specific units for the exclusive use of COVID. We've created a lot of extra rooms that have negative airflow capabilities. So I think we've certainly stockpiled more PPE to prepare for a surge.
What we're doing downtown on the Methodist Hospital and University Hospital campuses is looking at the spaces we have available and making sure we can convert them at any time to be whatever level of care or whatever type space we need.
Representatives with both hospital systems say they've learned lessons from the outbreak in the spring, including the best way to treat patients.
Lauren, two recent deaths at the Marion County Jail are raising concerns. This morning, the inmates were killed just a week apart at the hands of other inmates. We spoke to a woman who asked not to be identified. She says her son is currently incarcerated at the Marion County Jail, and she's worried more deadly attacks will happen, she believes, if the jail does not make safety improvements.
Anyone that has a loved one in there has to be feeling the same way. You just don't know what to do. You don't know how to help them or how to get this fixed. It's not our place to judge them. That's why they're in there to go to court. The jail needs to get this fixed. They need to get it fixed now before someone else gets killed.
We reached out to the Marion County Sheriff's Office and they declined an interview request, saying both deaths are still under investigation. But the office did release a statement to WRTV. It reads in part, though it is a fact that the sheriff's deputies and detention deputies are underpaid, overworked, and the Marion County Sheriff's Office is understaffed, we have not concluded that this is the cause for either of the deaths at this time.
Developing this morning, school officials down in Brown County are now investigating a racist comment that was printed in the high school yearbook. In the 2020 yearbook, an African-American student was listed as, quote, black guy instead of his name. In a letter acquired by WRTV, parents and students were notified of the error. The letter says an investigation is underway to find out how this happened. It goes on to say that the error in the 2020 yearbook is a clear violation of our non-discrimination policy. Last night, Dr. Laura Hammock released this apology video.
I've already heard from a couple of class of 2020 graduates who are just sickened by this and couldn't agree more. Want the community to understand this evening that this is fundamentally a situation that we are taking as the only priority for our time right now. What we are deeply committed to is advancing equity and inclusion in our school system.
Superintendent Hammock says the district is working with their vendor and the student's family to come up with a solution. At 6:07, long lines to vote are a reality across many parts of our state. Here in Marion County, Raphael, some voters are tapping their toes while they wait.
At WRTV's Kelsey Anderson, she joins us live this morning with how some local artists are using this to their advantage. And Kelsey, by the way, did you know that Lauren used to play the drums and our Todd Clausen the trumpet? So if those artists need some backup, we have a talented team ready to help them.
You know, I played the trumpet for about 2 weeks in middle school, and then I was not very good. So you will not see me out here outside the CCB, but you will find several artists who haven't been able to make any money amid the pandemic because everything has been closed down. So they're hoping to find new audiences among early voters. So 85 of Indianapolis-based performers are hosting 100 free live shows to an audience of early voters. Thanks to the pandemic, the show in Lugar Plaza is the first paying gig many of the singers, musicians, and bands have had in months. Goldie Ingram tells us the places she normally performs are closed.
This is all I do for a living, so it's barely making ends meet. Everybody knows musicians are starving musicians. This opportunity, it doesn't matter what it pays, it's just the fact that we're able to get out and do something, especially when the community they're out here and they can tell that we can tell that the music is soothing them.
Now, the concerts are hosted at Lugar Plaza, and the executive director of the plaza tells us they came up with the idea once they saw just how long the lines were to vote early. Now, several voters tell us as they stood in line and heard that music, it made not standing in line so frustrating because, of course, no one likes standing in line. And Ingram tells us that playing live music just made her soul feel much better for the first time since March. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you so much. And now more of our Democracy 2020 coverage. The three men running for governor of Indiana will face off in their first debate tonight at 7 in a virtual setting. WRTV's political insiders give us their take on tonight's top race.
Some of the big issues that are confronting this governor and every governor in the nation is their response to COVID-19. You just heard Kip too talk about that the governor will have to answer many questions. Will those be easy things for him to answer, or will he be under attack by Mr. Rainwater and Mr. Myers? Will he have to answer a lot to both of these men?
The governor has had a record up to this point of following the advice of his health officials and his doctors, and I have no reason to believe that's any different now.
And I think that the governor has exhibited some strong leadership in the beginning of the pandemic, but to sit back and wait to see which way the political winds blow is just not responsible right now.
The governor actually has a very good positioning in this, where he's going to be attacked from Rainwater for saying people should wear masks, and he's going to get attacked by Woody Myers saying you're not doing enough. And he's going to actually be able to come out looking like a reasonable, sensible middle ground, which is a good political move.
Don't wear a mask is crazy. I mean, it's just crazy. All the science says you help solve this problem by wearing a mask. So having someone over here saying, don't wear a mask, and the other guy saying, here's what we ought to do with the science, maybe we follow the guy who's actually been the public health director, who actually knows something about this.
Early voting is up. What do you say about all those folks that have been waiting either minutes or hours to vote?
Folks are participating. We've had pretty low numbers, frankly, of turnout here in Indiana and a lot of variety of races. And it's good to see people are passionate about voting.
I mean, the more people that vote, I always think is a better thing for our democracy.
We need to be prepared for a wait. On election night, I don't think we're going to have results. It may well take us into the next day or the following day. And it's important for people to remember that that could be completely normal, nothing nefarious.
I'm very hopeful that this pandemic has given us an opportunity to really have a serious look at why we don't expand voting more in Indiana.
Our political insiders, thank you so much. And our coverage of Democracy 2020 continues right now on WRTV.com.
That's right, and don't forget to vote. The next gubernatorial debate is next Tuesday, October the 27th. Lauren?
Well, the pandemic has brought live performances to a screeching halt, including those for a Carmel-based professional dance company. Now, more than 7 months later, we're checking back in as the state reopens. Todd?
And we finally dusted off those umbrellas the other day when we first started getting into the rain. So do you need to grab the umbrella as you walk out the door on this Tuesday morning? Well, I don't think you need it necessarily this morning and this afternoon, as we're just going to be dealing with some patchy drizzle, but heavier rain does move in this evening. So that's when you will need the umbrella. We'll time the next round of rain out for you using TrueCast coming up in Maine weather in just a few minutes. The time now is 6:12. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on WRTV.
At some point, we need to let our dancers beyond a layoff period. They may have to go on unemployment.
In the first weeks of the pandemic, WRTV focused on the Carmel-based Gregory Hancock Dance Theater. The outlook, as you may recall, was bleak for the professional dance company and other live performance arts. But that was then. And through our commitment here at WRTV on The Rebound Indiana, we're highlighting the dance company once again. And this time, they represent a symbol of hope 7 months later.
And Raphael, we can tell you through several tough months of unemployment, the dancers are now preparing for their first performance back. Here's their story in their own words.
My first show was when I was 2 weeks old. I was backstage. Most of everyone in the company, we've been dancing since we were in those toddler classes my whole life. Came to rehearsal knowing we weren't coming back. We just knew the show wasn't going to happen. It was a struggle to find like a beam of light to look towards.
A lot of artists, a lot of people are struggling.
So much of our identities is being dancers, and just everything that is my core suddenly wasn't there. I think we all kind of struggled with that identity crisis. This was not something I chose out of convenience. It was something that my soul needed. Having that taken away from me was devastating. I don't think I've ever gone that long without a plie or a tendu or standing at the bar. And I remember just feeling my body slowly go up. Like I got to the point where I stopped even kind of feeling like a dancer. There was even that fear of, will we survive this? Will there be a company to come back to? Dance is what makes me run. It's what makes me live and breathe. So having that to return to was so important. There's a part of the show that's for everyone. We're so much more focused on what makes us human. There are feelings of isolation, a window into how everyone's been feeling.
I hope they're able to relate as well.
Moments of hope, moments of happiness, moments of sadness.
I really like the duet with Thomas and Camden.
Big piece of plexiglass with two people stuck on either side.
It's just being separated from someone else.
It is a little like gray and white and black, and we're gonna, throughout the season, maybe gain a little more color as we move out of this dark time in our lives. Concepts and characters that are introduced in this show will be carried through each of the performances and then culminate with There's No Place Like Home next June. And it's been challenging even to just stay 6 feet apart. Us as the dancers, we don't ever touch during the show. We don't get within 6 feet of one another. We just hope that people feel comfortable coming to the theater and supporting us. Having a plan of how to keep everyone safe, keep everyone separate, audience and dancers and crew alike.
And luckily, this is able to open up, and luckily, we're moving forward.
And as you can see, Gregory Hancock Dance Theater presents Dances for a New World Part 1 at the Tarkington this Thursday through Saturday. We have a link to more information on the ticket site. On our website, just go to WRTV.com/rebound. The time right now is 6:18, Todd. We did have some drizzle going on in our morning commute, but what can we expect as people are heading out the door right now?
Yeah, you know, I think that drizzle is going to carry on in spots here, Lauren, as we go throughout the next couple hours here for your morning commute. So you may have to throw the windshield wipers on here or there, but it's not going to be a steady rainfall or not a heavy rain. So that is the good news. The more significant shower activity and widespread rain moved out of the area a couple hours ago, but we are going to be stuck with the cloud cover here throughout the day today. So don't bank on much of anything in the way of sunshine here throughout the day. And the overall picture shows the line of rain extending from New England just to our south, and then there's another batch of precipitation here off to our northwest. Well, it was a cold front that went through with the rain earlier in the week, Sunday night into Monday, and that front went to the south yesterday evening. It's going to start to come back to the north, and that is going to, one, bring warmer temperatures back into central Indiana, but it's going to bring the heavier showers back into the area as well as we get later into the day today. So most of the daytime hours today will be just dry with cloudy skies, and again, there could be some occasional drizzle here and there across parts of the area, but it's nothing I think you need to carry an umbrella around with. If you just have a hood on your jacket, you could probably throw that up and you would be just fine. Here we are, 3:30. We're still completely quiet across the area. Fast forward to 7 o'clock, right around sunset. That's when more heavier rain is going to start to move back into parts of the area. And you do notice there's some pretty intense little pockets of rain with this front as it makes its way through the area. And it's going to continue all the way into Wednesday morning. It's going to move through very, very slow. So for Wednesday morning's commute and Wednesday's bus stop forecast, we're going to have, I think, some decent rain in spots across the area, and then eventually that moves out mid-morning tomorrow, and we're left with warmer temperatures for your Wednesday, and we'll also see drier conditions start to work in. Rainfall potential, I stopped it here for you at 5:30, and you see there's not a whole lot in the way of additional rainfall, a couple hundredths of an inch here down to the south, and a little bit of drizzle to the north. But watch what happens as I advance this, and we bring that next round of rain in here as we get into tonight and into the overnight hours. Pretty significant. Some areas could see over 1 inch of rain on top of all the rain that we've seen already, which is over an inch in some southern locations. So when we look at, by the time this wraps up, on Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday evening, when you date all the way back to when this started Sunday evening, we're looking at some areas that could approach 3 inches of rainfall across central Indiana. Temperatures this morning are in the 40s anywhere you go as we work our way throughout the day. Eventually we get to 60 degrees. I don't think that high occurs until pretty late in the day as that warm front it gets a little bit closer. And then as we work our way throughout the day tomorrow, a few showers in the morning hours linger into about the 8-9 o'clock hour, and then just mostly cloudy skies. But you do notice tomorrow as that warm front comes through, we get back up to right around 70 degrees for your high temperature, so significantly warmer. And then as we work our way beyond tomorrow, Thursday, the best day of the week. Sunshine, 80 degrees. As we get into Friday and Saturday, temperatures will start to cool off after the passage of a cold front on Friday. That rain on Friday is probably pretty late in the day, so most of Friday should be dry. Then as we get into Saturday and Sunday, cooler temperatures in the 50s with partly cloudy skies. So while it is cooler, the good news is that we will be dry if you do have any weekend plans set up.
Come on Thursday. Todd Clausen, thank you so much. Did the coronavirus pandemic force you to cancel or change your travel plans? Coming up, why you may need to act quickly to save your airline vouchers. Now let's head outside on this Tuesday morning. A big good morning to all our friends in Lebanon, Logansport, and Liberty. All places to call home. Great places to call home. You're watching Good Morning Indiana on this Tuesday, right here on WRTV.
The time right now is 6:25 on our Tuesday. Raphael, let's talk about what is trending at 6.
So, Lauren, you are worthy of receiving diamonds. Is that correct?
Okay, I agree.
Lots of diamonds.
Yes.
Now, I can't afford to give you a diamond, and so I have a rock to show you.
Okay.
Today, NASA's OSIRIS-REx will try to make contact with a big ancient rock, an ancient asteroid that's been circling some 200 million miles away. How about that for a gift? The spacecraft is tasked with bringing back to Earth at least 2 ounces of the asteroid. OSIRIS-REx has enough nitrogen gas to try 3 times to reach out, touch the surface, and grab about a handful of the rubble, all autonomously. How about that for a rock? Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. And Raphael, I need diamonds, but something else I need, someone to cook for me. I'm not a good chef, so Popeyes fans.
I could do that.
Yeah, Popeyes fans have another reason to be grateful this morning and this Thanksgiving. USA Today reports that the fast food chain is bringing back its Cajun turkeys for the holiday. You can pre-order them for about $40 by calling or visiting participating chains. Now, this is the good part, Raphael. The turkeys come pre-cooked, but they can take a few days to thaw out. I could do that.
Todd and I can chip in on the Popeyes.
Okay.
We'll have to wait on the diamonds. But hey, how about this view on this Tuesday morning? Time to check out our fall foliage here in central Indiana. This picture is from Denise Jekyll. This all looks like an oil painting, but it's not. This is Denise's backyard right here in Indianapolis. Check that out. I would love to just sit right there in her backyard if she would have let me. This is just one of the many views we'll check out over the next couple of days as we see the seasons change right here in central Indiana. Todd, that would be a great place to hang out on a dry, warm day.
Yeah, that looks like an absolutely beautiful spot there. I sit there with my fishing pole, throw a little line in the water there. Absolutely beautiful, especially with all the colors. All right, hasn't been the best leaf viewing weather here the past couple days with all the rain we've seen. This is estimated rainfall going back 48 hours. So you can see a significant more rain has fallen from I-70 southward, where it's about 3/4 of an inch to over an inch. In fact, some areas close to 1.5 inches. A lot lower rainfall totals as you work your way to the north. Most of today is going to be dry. Radar is quiet right now. It's not until this evening that we start to bring back more significant rain into the area, and we'll add to those rainfall totals. In fact, southern locations where you've seen over an inch already could pick up another inch of rain starting late tonight and then going into tomorrow morning. As you walk out the door right now, temperatures are sitting in the 40s, so it's a cooler start, but eventually as we work our way into the afternoon hours, highs eventually get into the upper 50s. Our official high today is probably not going to be until right around midnight when we eventually get up to 60 degrees, and that'll start a warming trend that'll take us into the coming days. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. The coronavirus pandemic has forced a lot of us to reschedule our travel plans. Working for you, our John Matarese explains why those with flight vouchers may need to quickly come up with a new plan.
Are you among the millions of people who had to cancel a flight this year when the pandemic hit? If so, check those vouchers. They could be expiring soon. I've been hearing complaints for months now from Frontier Airlines passengers complaining that their COVID travel credits were expiring in just 90 days. Frontier says you don't have to fly within 90 days, but you must book a new flight. But now passengers of some other airlines are learning they have just 2 more months to book a flight, even if the pandemic is still raging. Many COVID flight credits expire at the end of this year. USA Today says if you're still skittish about flying, you should email the airline explaining why you want a refund. If that doesn't work, it says contact your credit card. If you have a voucher expiring at the end of December, don't ignore it. You may want to book a flight for late next year and just hope there's a vaccine available by then. As always, don't waste your money. I'm John Matarese. Good morning, Indiana.
From the station working for you, This is Good Morning Indiana, streaming now.
Now on Good Morning Indiana on this Tuesday morning, this is your 6:30 news feed. A TGI Fridays restaurant on the west side of Indianapolis is likely a total loss after an overnight fire. Crews were called to the restaurant on West 38th Street around 2 this morning. Officials say the fire happened when a new roof was built over an old one. No injuries have been reported.
It's official. Purdue's head football coach will not be on the sidelines for the first game of the season. Jeff Brohm says a second test confirms his COVID-19 diagnosis over the weekend. Brohm says he still has no symptoms and will isolate at home while working remotely until the middle of next week. Purdue opens its season against Iowa this Saturday.
If you want to go green, you now have a new recycling option. The Department of Public Works is putting a new recycling box at the Pike Township Trustee's office that's on the northwest side of Indianapolis. This site is 8.5 miles from the Broad Ripple Park, which had previously been the closest recycling location for people who live on the city's northwest side. The new box is located at 5665 Lafayette Road. And I know it's only 6:30 in the morning, Lauren, but I am ready to recycle Tuesday for something warmer. So hopefully Todd can help us in that category because, you know, I'm not going to complain about today because, right, it could be snowing, it could be ice, but something warmer would be nice.
Yeah, we don't want to be like Iowa with all the snow that we saw earlier. And Todd, I think you're going to deliver this week.
Yeah, you know, Raphael, I got a day all picked out for you, and I know you know when it's coming. It's Thursday. That's the day. I think everybody across central Indiana is going to be out and about because it has been a pretty wet stretch of weather. With that said, it's been needed rainfall across the area as it has been running very, very dry. I showed you this picture about an hour ago if you've been with us here on Good Morning Indiana, and you could not even see the skyline as you look from IMS. You can see the skyline now, so that's a good indication that some of that drizzle that's been out there is starting to dry up across the area. We're still left with lots of clouds, though, here across the area with temperatures that are sitting in the 40s. And the significant rainfall that was through here last night and into the early morning hours is now pushed off into Ohio. So throughout the remainder of the morning, we're just dealing with some cloudy skies, and there'll be some occasional drizzle here and there across parts of the area as we go over the course of the next couple hours. But eventually some of this heavier rainfall to the south is going to move back in during the evening hours. So throughout the morning hours, temperatures hold pretty steady in the 40s here with mostly cloudy skies. Then we'll start to warm up into the afternoon. Our high today probably actually doesn't occur close to midnight, but after sunset, that's when we bring in some heavier rainfall once again. More on that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. We do have our live drive out there to show you what your commute looks like right now on I-70. Our photographer, Shay Goodpaster, is in the driver's seat, and this is a dash cam view on I-70 heading into the downtown area near the split, and you can see that traffic is flowing up to speed. We had a lot of crashes at both the north and south splits yesterday morning during this time, so a change this morning, a little bit less rain out there and open roads, no crashes to report at this early hour. Raphael?
Our coverage of Democracy 2020 continues on this Tuesday. Vice President Mike Pence will be coming home to vote after all. The former Indiana governor and his wife, Second Lady Karen Pence, are now scheduled to be in Indianapolis this Friday to cast early votes for the general election. The Pences rescheduled their trip after canceling a planned visit to vote earlier this month, as you may recall. Now, details on their visit this week have not been released, but the White House says the Pences will hold a campaign event in Fort Wayne in Allen County on Thursday. Lauren, we are now just 14 days away from Election Day, and Hoosiers continue to stand in long lines to cast their ballots early.
Yeah, we know voters here in Indianapolis, they're getting a special treat, Raphael, when they're waiting outside in line. Some members of our community hit hard by the pandemic, and Kelsey Anderson is live with this morning with more on that. Hey, Kelsey.
Hey, good morning. So Lugar Plaza here outside of the City County building has turned into a concert stage for the dozens of performers who haven't been able to perform since the pandemic started. So now they're hoping to find a new audience in early voters. So 85 performers that are based in Indianapolis, they're hosting 100 free live shows to an audience of early voters over the next 2 weeks. Thanks to the pandemic, the show in Lugar Plaza is the first paying gig that many of the singers, musicians, and bands have had in months. Goldie Ingram tells us the places she normally performs are currently closed.
The venues that we normally sing at, like the Jazz Kitchen, the Chatterbox, We don't know when they're going to open. We don't know when we're going to have the opportunity to do that. So the fact that there are other ways for us to be able to do it is going to be fantastic.
Now, Ingram tells us being able to perform live has been good for her soul, and voters tell us it makes the long lines not so bad. So this will be artists of all genres performing. So if you want to kind of plan your voting around when certain performers are going to be on live, you can go over to the on the Cultural Trail. They have it on their website, a list of those performers. And we do know that in the first 14 days of early voting, more than 21,000 Hoosiers have voted early here in Marion County. Reporting live, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you. Here at 6:35, Hoosiers are voting early in big numbers so far. With just under 2 weeks left in early voting, we're already up to almost 1/4 of the number of votes that were cast in the 2016 presidential election year. The latest numbers released by the Indiana Secretary of State's office cover early voting through this past Sunday. They show the number of people voting in person has now almost equaled the number of mail-in ballots that have been returned statewide. In all, nearly 678,000 Hoosiers have already voted this year. Early voting runs through November 2nd. Election Day, remember, is on November 3rd. And if you do plan to vote by mail, you have until this Thursday, October 22nd, to turn in your application for an absentee ballot. But at this point, election officials say you'll probably want to just turn in that application in person at your local election office. And then when you get your absentee ballot, you must fill it out and send it back in. The deadline to get that completed ballot to your county election office is noon on Election Day. Again, that's November 3rd.
Lauren, Indiana's first gubernatorial debate will be held virtually tonight because of the pandemic. The Indiana Debate Commission says Governor Eric Holcomb, the incumbent, Democratic challenger Dr. Woody Myers, and Libertarian Donald Rainwater will each be in separate studios as a COVID-19 precaution. Now, you can watch that one-hour debate at 7 o'clock tonight at WRTV.com as well as on the WRTV Facebook page. You can also watch on the WRTV app on your favorite streaming service such as Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, and Apple TV. A new change being added to the upcoming presidential debate after the first one was described as being simply chaotic. President Trump and Joe Biden will now be muted while the other delivers his 2-minute remarks during the Thursday event. The move is meant to prevent all those interruptions that were seen during the first debate. The commission says the remainder of the 15-minute block will be open to discussion with no muting. The Trump campaign has said it's opposed to this rule change. The Biden campaign has yet to weigh in on the change. We will have live coverage of that final presidential debate. Our live coverage begins at 8 o'clock this Thursday right here on WRTV. And a reminder, we have everything that you need to know about the election at our website, WRTV.com. We go one-on-one with the candidates who will appear on your ballot. Plus, we have the dates and the deadlines that you need to know to make sure that your vote counts. That's all at WRTV.com/election 2020.
A terrifying crash and a driver very lucky this morning. Next, what caused the damage to this windshield and what police know about the incident so far.
Some big changes in how police officers can interact with suspects. Next, a new way to learn more about those policies that are now in place. You're watching Good Morning Indiana on this Tuesday, right here on WRTV.
Welcome back. It is 6:40 now to a scary situation after a pumpkin smashes through a man's windshield while he was driving on the highway. This pumpkin dropped from an overpass above, and 20-year-old Caleb Needham says that he was driving on I-70 to his home out in Hendricks County when this happened early Saturday morning. He said when he made it to the other side of the overpass, the pumpkin crashed into his windshield, landing in his passenger seat. He called police, who said that he was lucky the situation was not any worse.
They said if it would have came through like the driver's side where I was sitting, that I probably would have died. I'm just so thankful that it happened the way it did, and I didn't have anyone in the passenger seat.
One of the things that strikes me the most is the carelessness of some people's actions. You know, whether it was a teenager or whoever, and maybe it wasn't even a teenager, just the carelessness of someone's actions, trying to have what they think is fun, but could have caused serious consequences, more so than just smashing a window.
Well, the Hendricks County deputies that responded told Needham that they've received some calls of similar incidents happening lately, and WRTV has reached out to the sheriff's office for more information on this investigation, and we'll let you know if there are any updates.
On this Tuesday, good morning to Greenwood, Anderson, and Kokomo. Here in Indianapolis, there have been a number of changes to policing following those demonstrations this summer. The Marion County prosecutor will now be addressing use of force in a virtual presentation that you can attend for free.
What is that you want people to take away from this? They have 90 minutes with this panel of speakers. What will I get out of it if I sit through this virtual presentation?
Well, I think so far, people maybe just have learned about use of force through sound bites, and they've heard a lot of terms, and I want to provide a little bit more background and nuance to the discussion. I think a lot of people have heard the term of qualified immunity in different aspects of IMPD training, and I think it's very important that we provide context to those terms so people better understand what the legal standard is.
Considering how emotional and raw this issue, the issue of use of force, remains in our county and across the country, do you foresee doing more of these sessions, particularly on this issue?
I think the thing that's so encouraging to me is we've heard from the community, and they really want to learn more about the topic of use of force and things that maybe we can do to better educate the community about what these issues are and some of the complexities that exist, so they better understand the challenges that law enforcement faces, that the prosecutor's office faces, and then also hopefully tell the community what's going on so they better understand their rights, and also hopefully we'll provide some guide rails to help those interactions between law enforcement and the community moving forward.
Ryan Mears, Marion County Prosecutor, thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate the time. Thank you.
This conversation is part of the 10th Annual Community Justice Academy. The talk on use of force is now set for tomorrow, Wednesday the 21st. It will run from 5 until 6:30 p.m. It is free and will be held via Zoom. You have until 5 o'clock tonight to sign up for tomorrow's session. The Zoom details are in this story posted later today on WRTV.com.
The COVID-19 pandemic has been deadly, and not just because of the virus. Next, how one group is highlighting another side effect of the pandemic impacting victims all across our state. Todd?
And we're getting a little bit of a break from the rainfall out there right now, and that'll be the case throughout much of the morning and into the early afternoon, with just a little bit of patchy drizzle here and there. But then rain chances, they ramp back up as we get into the evening hours, as some of us could see an additional inch of rain. We'll break it all down for you coming up when Good Morning Indiana continues right here on WRTV.
Now to the latest on COVID-19's impact on our state. The Indiana State Department of Health reports 1,589 new cases of the virus. Indiana has now seen 13 consecutive days of at least 1,000 new cases. 23 new deaths were also reported. Some of those were confirmed after further review and date back to as early as September the 17th. 3,727 total Hoosiers have died with coronavirus. This pandemic may be also to blame for putting lives at risk, Lauren, in ways that are not directly related to COVID-19.
Yeah, the Indiana Coalition Against Domestic Violence says people are being home more because of the coronavirus is also leading to more deaths from abuse. The coalition says that deaths connected to domestic violence have increased by 86% in Indiana compared to the same time last year. Nurse Julie Morrison says that she and other advocates expected this to happen.
Kind of all the factors that worsen domestic violence or intimate partner violence, just exacerbated by this pandemic, those same kind of things, financial insecurity, losing jobs, and we knew this is going to be potentially bad with people being stuck at home together.
And while emergency shelters are working overtime to find safe housing for people in need, capacity and resources we know are limited. But Morrison says that anyone who needs help should not hesitate to reach out.
Come to the hospital. You can even call the hospital. I get calls just from the operator. A stranger saying, what do I do? They don't know that there's somewhere they can go for help.
There is help. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is staffed 24 hours a day. That number is 800-799-7233. You can also visit the website, thehotline.org. The time right now is 6:48. It's Tuesday morning. Let's get a check of our forecast with Todd Clausen. Todd, another wet one?
Yeah, it's going to be wet at times here throughout the day, Lauren, but I think at least most of the daytime hours here are going to be fairly dry. It's not until this evening that we bring back in more significant rain to the area. So here's how your headlines break down by day parts. There's certainly some patchy drizzle out there still this morning, and some of you will probably have to throw on your windshield wipers here and there across central Indiana this morning for your commute into work if you have to do so. But much of the afternoon is just cloudy, and then that rain is going to arrive later on this evening. And by evening, I'm kind of targeting sunset and then beyond for that rain to return. We had some pretty good rainfall overnight that has now moved off into Ohio, and you see we're just left with a lot of that cloud cover out there, and the drizzle so light that radar has a hard time picking it up, but it is out there in spots. The big picture shows this line of rain stretching all the way from New England through the Pittsburgh area back down into northern Kentucky. That was a cold front that went through, and a lot of the rain we've been dealing with the last 24 hours have been moving right along that front, the front kind of acting as a highway. Well, that front's going to start to lift back to the north, and that's what's going to eventually bring us some warmer temperatures. But to get that warmer air back in here, we're going to have to go through another round of rainfall later on today. TrueCast here, 11 o'clock this morning, just mostly cloudy skies. It stays mostly cloudy into the 2 o'clock hour. As we progress into the evening hours, 5:30, still dry. You notice the rain is off to our west, but look what happens as we head into the 9-10 o'clock hour. Some heavier rain moves back into the area, and then it moves in even more as we head into the overnight hours. So overnight tonight, some pockets of pretty heavy rainfall, and it will be fairly widespread across the area, and it continues all the way into your Wednesday morning commute. Here we are at 5 a.m. tomorrow, still some significant rain across parts of the area. It'll be ending in northern locations for tomorrow morning's commute, and then eventually it pushes off to the east as we head into mid-morning. But many areas could see up to another inch of rain there in southern locations on top of an inch to inch and a half that we've already seen. So it's going to be another wet evening and overnight period. So that kind of times out well, at least with the daytime hours. Eventually up to 60 degrees today. That high occurs closer to midnight as that warmer air starts to work its way into the area. Tomorrow, some showers could linger into the 8 a.m. hour, but they should be moving out at that point. Then temperatures tomorrow will be warming up into the 60s. But eventually, as we work our way into the evening hours tomorrow, we're looking at temperatures approaching 70 degrees, and then we get to Thursday. Thursday is the day you want to start making those plans right now. It's going to be beautiful. Lots of sunshine. Temperatures climbing all the way up to right around 80 degrees. We'll expand out and show you the weekend. And you notice Friday, I have this thunderstorm icon. That's when a cold front's going to come through. The cold front comes through pretty late in the day on Friday into early Saturday morning. But the big difference is look at the temperature drop. About 20 degrees colder for your high temperature on Saturday, more fall-like. Sunday, 60 degrees. So if you do have plans for your weekend, the good news is it is going to be dry. The bad news is you're going to have to bundle up a little more compared to the warmth that we'll see on Thursday and Friday. Lauren?
All right, Todd, thanks so much. It's been a pretty quiet morning commute so far, and our live drive vehicle is showing you a look right now on the east side. Traveling eastbound on I-70 approaching Emerson Avenue. You can see things here are traveling up to speed, and then across the way you can see westbound traffic is traveling up to speed as well. No issues to slow you down at this early hour. We'll keep you updated.
So Lauren, another side effect of this pandemic, there may be a holiday shipping surge this year, as you could imagine. Coming up today on Good Morning America, right here on WRTV, with so many people shopping online, we'll show you what you can do to make sure that your gift arrives on time.
And a shocking error inside of a local high school yearbook. Next, the investigation into how it ended up in print, and more on their top stories for this Tuesday morning. Stick around. Welcome back. It is 6:55 this Tuesday morning. Let's take a look at some of your top stories here on Good Morning Indiana.
A new overnight death investigation is now underway on the city's north side here in Indianapolis. Police say they found a victim on East 37th Street and Baltimore Avenue this around 10 last night. Not much information has been released to us just yet, but we're told that homicide detectives responded to that scene.
The school superintendent in Brown County has apologized for a racist comment found inside the Brown County High School yearbook. In a caption, a picture inside the 2020 yearbook, an African African-American student was listed as, quote, black guy instead of his name. WRTV obtained a letter sent to parents and students saying investigation is underway as to how the caption was left in the yearbook. The superintendent calls it a clear violation of the school district's non-discrimination policy.
In hiring Hoosiers this morning, CVS says it will need new employees to help customers deal with the potential twindemic of the flu and COVID-19. The retailer needs to fill about 150 jobs right here in central Indiana. Open positions include those for full-time and part-time, from licensed pharmacy techs all the way through distribution center employees. Now, CVS is holding 2 virtual hiring events. The first one is happening this Thursday. If you're interested in applying for any of those jobs, look for this story at hiringhoosiers.com.
And we want to get a check of our forecast right now with Todd Clausen. Todd, we have some drizzle you may run into on your drive this morning, but not as wet as yesterday.
Yeah, you know, yesterday we had portions of the area seeing some steady rain moving through during the morning commute. That has now moved off towards the south and east, but there is some drizzle out there and definitely lots of clouds. It is not going to be a bright day for us, and as far as any significant rain, it does move back in late tonight into Wednesday, as we could see another inch of rain, but it doesn't arrive until after sunset tonight. Thursday is by far the best day of the week, 80 and sunshine. And then as we head into Saturday and Sunday, it's dry but much cooler with temperatures in the mid-50s to right around 60 degrees.
Todd, thanks. We're back here in 25 minutes and all throughout Good Morning America.